The restaurant's patio overlooked the harbor, sailboats drifting past while our family occupied the best table. 12 people celebrating my brother Kevin's engagement. White tablecloths, mimosas flowing, everyone in Sunday best. I sat at the far end, trying not to wince as the surgical site in my abdomen sent sharp pains through my midsection. "Emma, you look exhausted," my Aunt Carol said. "Late night." "She was probably up researching her latest medical condition," Kevin said with a grin. "What is it this week? Lupus? Or are we back to the mysterious stomach issues?" The table chuckled. Even Amanda, Kevin's fiancée, smiled behind her hand. "I'm just tired," I said quietly. "I had a procedure this week." "Another procedure," my mother interrupted, exasperation in her voice. "Honestly, Emma, if you spent half as much time on your career as you do at doctors' offices, you'd be running your own company." I was a financial analyst pulling in $138,000 annually. My mother was the nursing director at Riverside General Hospital, a position she never let anyone forget. To hear her tell it, my remote work meant I had endless free time to indulge in medical anxiety. "The procedure wasn't optional, Mom," Dr. Chin said. "Dr. Chin," my father sighed. "Another new doctor. How many specialists this year?" 6. 7, Kevin supplied. "I've been keeping count. It's like she's collecting them." "I'm not collecting them. I've been trying to get a diagnosis for the abdominal pain." "The abdominal pain," Kevin made air quotes, "that somehow never shows up on any tests. Funny how that works." It wasn't funny. For 14 months, I'd experienced severe abdominal pain, unexplained weight loss, and intestinal bleeding that had sent me to the ER 4 times. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Michael Chin had finally found it during exploratory laparoscopy, a gastrointestinal stromal tumor wrapped around my small intestine. Surgery to remove it was scheduled for 3 weeks from now, the same week as Kevin's wedding. "Speaking of timing," Amanda said brightly, pulling out her phone, "we've set the date. June 15th. Garden wedding at the Botanical Gardens. June 15th. My surgery was scheduled for June 12th. "That's wonderful," my mother exclaimed. "June 15th is perfect." "Mom," I interrupted. "My surgery is June 12th. The table went quiet for 2 seconds. "Can't you reschedule?" Kevin asked as if I was talking about a haircut. "Reschedule cancer surgery?" "Oh, here we go," Kevin said, rolling his eyes. "The C word. Emma, you don't have cancer. You have some stomach thing doctors can't figure out, probably because it's stress-related. I have a GIST tumor. It's a rare gastrointestinal cancer. Dr. Chin removed a biopsy 2 weeks ago. The pathology came back positive. The tumor is growing and needs to be removed before it causes intestinal obstruction or ruptures. If it was really cancer, you'd be in the hospital right now," my Aunt Carol said confidently. "Cancer patients don't just walk around planning their schedules. Actually, many cancer patients do exactly that. I'm scheduled for surgery in 3 weeks. Until then, I'm managing symptoms with medication and restricted diet." "See, there's your problem," my father said. "You're managing. If this was serious, you'd be bedridden." I looked at my mother, waiting for her to say something. She was a nurse. She'd seen my pathology report, but she just sipped her mimosa and looked away. "Mom, tell them. You've seen the reports. You know this is real." My mother set down her glass carefully. "Emma, I've looked at your reports and honestly I think the doctors might be being overly cautious. GIST tumors are often benign. The fact they're not rushing you into emergency surgery tells me it's not as serious as you're making it sound. It's not benign. The pathology report specifically says it's malignant." "Mitotic rate," Kevin mimicked. "Listen to her. She's been Googling medical terms. Emma, just admit you're addicted to medical attention." "I'm not addicted to anything except trying to stay alive." "Dramatic," Amanda whispered to Kevin, loud enough for me to hear. "The timing is unfortunate," my mother said, using her professional nurse voice. "But Emma, surely you can talk to your doctor about rescheduling. Kevin's wedding has been planned for months. We've sent save the dates to over 200 people." "I didn't get a save the date," I said quietly. Silence. "We sent them while you were having one of your procedures," Kevin said. "We figured you'd be too sick to come anyway. You miss every family event because of your medical drama." I miss events because I'm actually sick. I missed Christmas because I was in the ER with intestinal bleeding. I missed Easter recovering from exploratory surgery. I'm not doing this on purpose. Aren't you though? My mother asked, her tone making me freeze. Emma, I've been a nurse for 28 years. I've seen real cancer patients. They fight, they stay positive, they don't spend all their time complaining about symptoms and scheduling conflicts. I have been fighting, I said, voice breaking. I've been fighting for over a year to get someone to believe me. To get attention, my father finished. Emma, we love you, but this has to stop. You're 30 years old. Time to grow up and stop using medical issues as a crutch. Just take an aspirin, Kevin joked, and the table laughed. I stood up, my abdomen screaming in protest. I need to use the restroom. I made it into a stall before the tears came, pressing my hand against my surgical site. A GIST tumor. Malignant. Surgery in 3 weeks. And my family thought I was faking it. I heard the bathroom door open, my mother and Aunt Carol. I'm worried about her, my aunt was saying. What if she really is sick? She's not, my mother said firmly. Carol, I work in healthcare. I know what real illness looks like. Emma has some minor stomach issues she's blown out of proportion. This GIST thing is probably a benign growth that doesn't even need surgery, but you know how doctors are. They want to do procedures to cover themselves legally. But the pathology report means nothing. Pathology reports are often overread. The radiologist probably saw something questionable and decided to call it cancer to be safe. Emma's latched onto it because it gives her something to talk about. I stood frozen, listening to my mother dismiss my cancer diagnosis. What if you're wrong? My aunt asked quietly. I'm not wrong. And even if there is something concerning, Emma's made her own bed. She's cried wolf so many times that nobody believes her anymore. That's not our fault, it's hers. They left. I stood in the stall for 5 more minutes, then emerged and walked back toward the patio. I stopped dead. Sitting at a nearby table was Dr. Michael Chin, my surgeon, along with 4 other people in business casual. I'd seen their photos on the Riverside General Hospital website. These were hospital board members. And they were sitting within perfect earshot of my family's table. Dr. Chin saw me and waved me over. Emma. What a coincidence. Are you feeling all right? You look pale. I walked over on autopilot. Dr. Chin. Hi. I'm here with my family. Wonderful. These are my colleagues from the hospital board. We're having a working brunch meeting. Emma, how's your pain level today? They're managing it, I said quietly, aware my family's table had gone silent, watching. Good. We're all set for your surgery on the 12th. The OR is booked. We're going to get that tumor out and send it for complete pathology analysis. GIST tumors are tricky, but we caught yours before it spread, which significantly improves your prognosis. Thank you. One of the board members, a woman in her 50s, leaned forward. Dr. Chin was just telling us about your case in our surgical review meeting. It's a textbook example of why persistence in diagnostics matters. You advocated for yourself for over a year. It's also a reminder, another board member added, of why we need to take patient concerns seriously. Dr. Chin, you mentioned the patient had family in healthcare. Dr. Chin nodded. Yes, her mother is one of our nursing directors. Linda Cooper, I believe. The color drained from my face. Several board members exchanged glances. Linda Cooper is your mother? The woman asked me. Yes. And she's aware of your diagnosis? I hesitated too long. Dr. Chen's expression shifted from friendly to concerned. Emma, is your mother aware that you have cancer? She knows. She's seen the reports. But she believes you? He pressed gently. I couldn't answer. The tears came instead. Dr. Chin stood immediately, his professional demeanor hardening. Excuse me for one moment. He walked toward my family's table. Good afternoon, he said, his voice carrying across the patio. I'm Dr. Michael Chin, surgical gastroenterology. I couldn't help but overhear some of your conversation about Emma's medical situation. My mother's face went white. Dr. Chin, I didn't realize that I was here, or that your daughter's surgeon would overhear you telling your family that her cancer diagnosis is blown out of proportion? His voice was ice. I'm trying to understand something, Mrs. Cooper. You're the nursing director at Riverside General, correct? Yes, my mother said, barely audible. Then you're aware that GIST tumors are classified as sarcomas. You're aware that Emma's pathology showed high mitotic rate, indicating aggressive growth. You're aware that without surgical intervention her tumor could rupture or cause complete intestinal obstruction, both of which could be fatal. The patio went completely silent. We thought. My mother started. You thought what? That your daughter was lying about having cancer? That multiple specialists were participating in some elaborate hoax? Dr. Chen's voice hardened. Or did you find it more convenient to dismiss her diagnosis because it conflicted with your son's wedding plans? The board members had all stood now and were walking over. The woman spoke directly to my mother. Mrs. Cooper, I'm Dr. Patricia Morrison, chair of the Riverside General Hospital Board. I'm disturbed by what I'm hearing. As our nursing director, you're responsible for patient advocacy. Yet you've been actively dismissing your own daughter's cancer diagnosis. I didn't mean. What exactly did you mean? Dr. Morrison interrupted. When you told your sister in the bathroom just now that Emma's pathology report means nothing? When you said she's made her own bed? When you implied her cancer diagnosis was fabricated for attention? My mother's face crumbled. You heard that. The bathroom is adjacent to our table. As we heard. We also heard you tell your family that doctors only want to do procedures for legal coverage, which is professionally irresponsible coming from a nursing director. Another board member spoke up. Mrs. Cooper, we take patient advocacy extremely seriously. The fact that you've been medically gaslighting your own daughter, a cancer patient, raises serious questions about your fitness to serve in leadership. This is a family matter. My father tried. No, Dr. Chen said firmly. This became a hospital matter when Mrs. Cooper used her nursing credentials to dismiss a cancer diagnosis. She's told multiple people that Emma's cancer is fabricated. She's provided medically inaccurate information. That's professional misconduct. Dr. Morrison pulled out her phone. Mrs. Cooper, consider yourself on immediate administrative leave pending investigation. We'll be conducting a full review of your patient interactions. If we find a pattern of dismissing patient concerns, we'll recommend license review to the state board. You can't do this, my mother whispered. This isn't official. I'm the board chair and 3 other board members are present as witnesses. This is entirely official. You'll receive formal notification tomorrow. Do not report to work until this investigation is complete. He turned to me. Emma, I'm so sorry you've been dealing with this. I'm assigning you a patient advocate who will help coordinate your surgery and recovery. Thank you, I managed. Dr. Chen put a gentle hand on my shoulder. Emma, go home and rest. I'll have my office contact you tomorrow. And don't worry about June 15th. Your health comes first. I walked away from that patio hearing my brother call my name, my father argue with board members, my mother cry. I didn't look back. The next morning I received a formal letter. My mother had been placed on unpaid administrative leave. The investigation had expanded after they'd reviewed her emails and found multiple instances where she'd advised nurses to not overreact to patient complaints. 3 weeks later I had my surgery. Dr. Chen successfully removed the tumor, larger than expected, wrapped around 8 inches of intestine. The pathology confirmed malignant GIST with high-risk features. I'd need monitoring for years, possibly chemotherapy if there were signs of recurrence. My patient advocate Sarah was there when I woke up. She'd arranged home health care, meal delivery, and transportation to follow-up appointments. My family wasn't invited. Kevin's wedding happened on June 15th. I saw photos on social media. Beautiful ceremony. My mother was in pictures, but she looked hollow. The local medical community had heard about the incident. Her nursing career was effectively over. She tried calling 17 times during my hospital stay. I blocked her number. 6 weeks post-surgery I was recovering well. Clean margins, no remaining tumor. I'd need scans every 3 months, but my prognosis was good. The hospital board had completed their investigation. My mother had been terminated for gross failure of patient advocacy and medical professionalism. Several families had come forward describing how she'd dismissed their concerns. She'd been reported to the state nursing board. Her license was suspended pending review. My father sent an email saying I'd destroyed my mother's career over a family misunderstanding. Kevin said I'd ruined his wedding. My aunt tried to mediate. I didn't respond to any of them. They'd called my cancer acting sick at Sunday brunch. They joked about aspirin while I was facing surgery. They'd planned a wedding during my hospital stay. My surgeon had been Mom's new boss, sitting at the next table. Mom's nursing career had ended at that dinner, exposed by her own words. I'd survived the cancer. I'd survived the surgery. I'd survive without the family who'd told me my dying was attention-seeking. Because sometimes the most malignant thing in your life isn't the tumor. It's the family that refuses to believe you have one.